another exciting RPG retrospective video and part 4 of the How to Play Dungeons & Dragons series. First, let me apologize to everyone who's been waiting for this video and taking so long to get to it. I hope you find it suitable as a conclusion to the series. If you are new, then let me tell you that this is the final part of a 4-part series. So if you haven't watched the other 3 parts, then I would encourage you to go back and watch those before you watch this one, as they are set up videos. In part 1, the introduction, I talked about what a role-playing game was and gave a framework on how to play. In part 2, we created a new character, the warrior, Brenna Thorgood. In part 3, the rules, we actually talked about the basics of playing Dungeons & Dragons, and in this part, the demonstration, we're going to put all of that together and actually go on an adventure with our newly created character, Brenna Thorgood. Let's get started. So at this point, Brenna's player is at the table with her character sheet, perhaps a miniature to represent her character, and the DM, the Dungeon Master, is sitting at the table, perhaps behind a DM screen, with notes and maps for the night's game session. The DM explains that Brenna comes from the land of Oslin, in the town of Osman Haven. The place is one of the few parts of the land where foreigners are welcome, and it is a dangerous place full of cutthroats and pirates. Of course, in Oslin, war and raiding are a way of life, and Brenna had hoped to make a name for herself by joining one of these raiding parties. With her skill with the axe, surely fame and fortune were just around the corner. Unfortunately, all she had gained so far was laughter, as she was ridiculed by the clan's leader, Bjorn Bearclaw, for her inexperience, and told to come back when she wasn't such a whelp. Angered and humiliated, Brenna stomped out of the place, wondering, if you need experience to join a raiding party, how did one get experience to begin with? Dejected, and running low on gold, the DM tells Brenna that she finds herself in a tavern called the Giant's Head, and, in fact, the taxidermied head of a hill giant is mounted proudly on a placard above the mantel of the fireplace. That is the prominent feature of the tavern. The owner is a jovial, portly man named Tovin the Giant Slayer, a retired adventurer whose peg leg gives evidence of a life of glory in battle. Or so the tales go. Brenna is served an ale by a friendly barmaid named Greta as she ponders her next move. As she sips her ale, feeling the lightness of her coin pouch, Brenna can't help but notice a rather distraught exchange between Tovin and 2 of the town's guard.
After the guards leave, I'll go strike up a conversation with Tovin, see if I can find out what's wrong.
Brenna's player tells the DM. The DM notes Brenna's high charisma score and decides that Tovin would be open to speaking with the novice warrior. "It's me boy. He's gone missing, and I ain't seen him in about over a day. Now, he's a headstrong and I thought he was just off with his mates, but they ain't seen him either, and when he didn't come in for supper last night, well, the missus and I got worried. I tried telling the guard, but it turns out he's played a prank or 2 on 'em, and you know how boys'll be. And now the guards, they ain't sought on trying to find him." The DM tells Brenna that it's quite clear by the distraught look on his face that Tovin is genuinely concerned.
When was the last time you saw your boy, Tovin?
Brenna asks. "Oh, well, he had his play sword with him, and I saw him going in the direction of the cellar. He likes to play down there, and it's kind of dark and creepy, as he puts it. You know how a youngin's imagination likes to run wild. He liked to pretend he's a giant slayer, like his daddy."
I see. You know, I'm aware myself. I would be happy to try and find your boy if you would like.
Brenna offers the tavern keeper, adding,
if the price is right, of course.
The DM tells Brenna's player that Tovin's face lights up immediately. "I'd give you my other leg if it would help find my boy, Miss...
Brenna Thorgood, the Brave. I was hoping for a bit of gold rather than a body part."
"I see. Well, if you think you can find my boy, I have saved up 200 gold. I know it's not much, but it's all I have. Do you think you can help me?"
I can sure try.
Brenna winces a bit, not wanting to take the jovial tavern owner's full savings. She looks thoughtful.
You wouldn't happen to know a man named Bjorn Bearclaw, would you?
Tovin's face lights up, and he smiles. Indeed I do. Bjorn and I went on many adventures together before I lost my leg.
I see. Well, perhaps instead of 200 gold, you could put in a good word for me with Bearclaw?
Realizing she was still almost broke, she added,
And 100 gold?
Of course, Miss Thorgood. If you can find my boy, I'd be happy to. With the matter of payment settled, Brenna asks,
Perhaps you could show me the cellar Tommen was playing in before he disappeared.
Tavern looks at the woman confused, but nods. I guess I could. The missus and I have looked all around there, and we didn't find a thing. It's not that big a place. He's definitely not there.
I'm sure, but it's a place to start.
Tovin leads Brenna to the inn cellar. Stone steps lead down into a dark, musty place filled with barrels of ale and wine. The crates of inn supplies, like tankards and dishes, are all about the walls. There are cobwebs in the corners, and a hint of foulness mingling with the pleasing scent of yeast and hops.
I can see why Tommen might want to play down here. It's a bit creepy.
Tovin chuckles to himself and nods in agreement, adding with a proud air, Yes, my boy fancies himself a bit of an adventurer and future pirate. Do you need anything else, Miss Brenna?
No, I'll take it from here. You go back to your customers. I'll have your boy back in no time.
Brenna added confidently, though, in reality, how she was going to trace the boy's whereabouts was heavy on her mind. The husky bar owner, Tovin, turned and headed back to the busy ale room, while Brenna found her way down the stone stairs, lit a torch, and began to investigate the cellar proper. There was no trace of the boy other than footsteps in the dust, like a fight had taken place, or a play fight. So far, the DM hasn't had Brenna make any rolls, simply giving the player surface information that anyone might be able to find. At this point, however, he has the player make an investigation roll. Now, if we look at Brenna's character sheet, we see that investigation is not one of Brenna's skills, so she won't get to add her proficiency bonus to the roll. Furthermore, her intelligence is 11, so no ability bonus either. However, Brenna rolls the d20 and comes up with a 12. The DM says there is a glint of steel in one corner of the room, and upon investigation, Brenna finds a small dagger, the kind a young child might carry, its blade badly dulled and slightly bent. Brenna scratches her head, really unsure what this means, but is sure it's a valuable clue of some sort.
Is there any indication around here as to what Tommen might have been doing with the dagger?
The DM nods and notes that the difficulty to find the scrapings on the wall nearby is only a 10, and Brenna's passive perception check is 13, so she would notice the lines in the stone, probably caused by the now dulled and bent dagger. The DM also adds that there is a bit of a semicircular scraping on the floor in front of the wall.
Oh, wow, a secret door!
Putting together the clues, Brenna begins searching the area for a hidden door of some type. The DM knows that indeed there is a secret door there. The difficulty to find it is a 15, 2 points higher than Brenna's passive check, and since she is actively looking, he has her make a perception check. Brenna is proficient in perception, so she gets to add her proficiency bonus to the roll, and her wisdom score is 13, giving her an additional +1 or +3 total. She rolls the d20 and gets a 13 for a total of 16, just enough. So the DM tells her, you find in one corner of the room a well-hidden stone door made to look like the rest of the wall.
Can I open it?
Yes, with a bit of additional searching, you find that the stone near the floor of the door moves inwards a bit, and with a bit of scraping, the door swings inwards, revealing a passage beyond. And by the foul stench that assaults your senses, it leads to the sewers of the city.
I look through the door. What do I see?
You see a wide corridor. The ceiling is arched, and there is a canal running through the center of the place, filled with a greenish, slimy water, filled with refuse and foul waste. To either side is a narrow walkway.
I'll step into the walkway. Is there any indication of where Tommen might have gone?
Once again, the DM smiles, and notes Brenna's passive perception is 13, so she notices that there is something on the walkway in the southern direction.
I'm going to carefully walk up to it. What is it?
You see what appears to be a wooden sword. It is rather small, so a child might play with it.
Oh, Tovin said that Tama likes to pretend he was an adventurer. This has got to be his. I'll keep going this direction.
The DM continues. The corridor moves south for a short time, and you can see that there is a parallel channel that runs along the channel you are walking through.
I'll keep going. Do I find anything else?
No, but as you continue onwards, you see that the walkway turns east.
I'll keep following it. I'm also watching that water. If anything moves there, I want to be ready. I do not want to be pulled into that.
The DM chuckles. There's nothing in the water that's going to attack Brenna, but the DM rolls some dice behind the screen and smiles. You don't see anything. Yet. Brenna's player makes a face to herself.
I'll keep going, staying close to the wall as I can, avoiding that fouled water.
The DM nods. All right, the passage U's around and turns north.
Still keeping an eye on that water.
Very well. The walkway follows along the channel, leading you northward. But finally there is a break in the wall, and you see a sunken room with stone stairs that lead into the fouled water. Across the east side of the room you see a ledge, and on the ledge there appears to be some type of webbed cocoon, and perhaps an animal in it, trapped inside, or perhaps even a small child. Brenna's player looks horrified.
Oh, no. Is there any other way around to the ledge other than through that disgusting water?
The DM grins evilly and shakes his head. I'm afraid there doesn't appear to be. Making a face.
All right. Oh, I totally should have charged Tovin more gold for this job. I prod in front of me with Tamael's toy sword, making sure there's nothing hidden in that water.
Very well. You go a short way into the water, and you definitely hit something soft at your feet, perhaps about a foot or so wide and about 3 or 4 feet long.
Oh, wow. I prodded some more. Can I tell what it is?
Not really. The water is pretty opaque, but it's not attached to the floor, as you sort of accidentally kicked it with your feet as you were moving along.
Can I reach down to it without putting my head under the water?
Yes, you can.
All right, I'll reach down to see if I can pull it up, whatever it is.
Well, you find you're able to grip onto something. It might be leather or cloth, perhaps a lost sack or something.
I try to pull it up.
You get the thing to the surface of the water, and what you see is the desiccated face of a halfling, one eye socket empty, the other eye hanging limply from a sinew of flesh, the mouth black and agape, the flesh mostly gone, revealing a haunting skull-like death grin. As it turns out, you are holding the body by its belt pouch, which in its rotted state comes off in your hand, and the corpse sinks and back into the water. Brenna's player genuinely screams.
Oh, gross. I pocket the pouch. I'll figure out what's in it later. And I make my way quickly to the ledge. Oh, that's disgusting.
The DM chuckles evilly. Indeed, it seems that some poor halfling ran afoul of something in the sewers.
Is there anything on that ledge other than the cocoon?
No, there doesn't appear to be anything else there.
Okay. I make my way over to the cocoon. Can I use my dagger to cut it open?
Yes, you can. And as you begin cutting it up, you reveal the very pale face of the young boy, Tamil, unconscious, but breathing very shallow. Now, at this time, the DM knows that walking about the ceiling of this room is a giant wolf spider, who has been carefully watching Brenna, eyeing the warrior as a potential meal, with the creature using its spider climb ability to move along without detection. The DM also notes that Brenna's player hasn't specifically said she was looking up, so uses passive perception as the spider's difficulty number of 13 to remain undetected. The wolf spider has a stealth of +7, and the DM rolls an 8 for a total of 15. More than enough to gain a surprise attack as the creature jumps from its position on the ceiling to the back of the unaware warrior. In this case, the DM is going to roll the spider's attack with advantage, not only since Brenna is surprised, but her back is to her attacker. Brenna's armor class is 17, even though she is unaware of the impending attack, and on 2d20 the DM rolls a 7 and a 15. The 7 misses, but the spider gains a +3 to its attack for a total of 18, higher than Brenna's 17 armor class, and it manages to bite Brenna with its fangs. As you stoop over the young, unconscious boy, trying to free him from his cocoon prison, you failed to notice the giant spider climbing on the ceiling above you. Suddenly, it swoops down, landing on your back, its sanguine fangs sinking into your flesh. The DM rolls 1d6 damage for the fangs, and rolls a 3 for 4 points of damage.
Ouch! Oh no, I grab my axe and try to cleave it!
Very well, but you will first have to make a saving throw against the spider's venom coursing through your veins.
Are you kidding me? Oh no.
Brenna rolls the die. Fortunately, she has a high constitution. The DC for the spider's venom is 11. She rolls an 8, adding +2 for her constitution bonus, but also an additional +2 proficiency bonus, as Brenna has proficiency in saves versus constitution for a total of 12. Just barely enough. The DM rolls 2d6 poison damage, rolls a 9, which is halved, as Brenna made her saving throw. The number rounding down to a 4 for 4 points of damage. But with the spider's bite, she has taken a total of 8 points of damage out of her total of 12 hit points. She only has 4 hits left before she falls unconscious and has to start making death saving throws. The DM says, "All right then, let's roll for initiative." In combat, you roll initiative to determine the order of the combatants, which is a dexterity check. Brenna's dexterity is 9, so she rolls a d20 and subtracts 1. She rolls a 12 for a total of 11. Spider's dexterity is 16 for a bonus of +3. The DM rolls a 9 for a total of 12. The spider will get to act again. So, you stand up, ready to face your attacker, the sting of the thing's bite causing the wound to throb, and there's a burning in your veins from the poison. Your opponent is very nimble, and as you set your axe for your attack, it strikes again. The DM rolls the d20 and rolls a 13, with the attack bonus of +3 for a total of 16. Brenna's armor class is 17, so this attack misses. The DM tells her, fortunately, as it springs forward, its fangs are no match for your chainmail. What do?
Oh, I'm going to take a bonus action for a second wind, and then I'm cleaving that thing with my axe. It's really pissed me off.
Brenna rolls a 1d10 plus her level for her fighter's second wind ability, and gets a 4 for a total of 5, and gets 5 hit points back, still leaving her 3 points down. She then rolls 20, adding in +3 for strength, a +2 proficiency bonus for her proficiency with her axe. The d20 comes up a 6 for a total of 11. Just barely enough, as the spider's armor class is 11. She hit. Brenna wields a great axe, which does 1d12 damage, and she gets to add in the +3 bonus for her strength. She rolls an 8 for a total of 11. The spider has 11 hit points, so she killed it. The DM then tells Brenna, you realize that you can't take another attack from this thing without sharing the fate of poor Tommel. Your heart races, and you put everything you have into your attack. The weapon of your ancestors firm in your grip, the spider's hard exoskeleton clearly no match for the cruel bite of the sharp edge of the axe. You cleave the thing in two, its foul ichor splattering over you, 8 legs twitching in its death throes. You are victorious.
I revel in the blood of my enemies. Though I look up, are there any more spiders in the ceiling?
The DM smiles evilly once again. He knows there are no more spiders, but he makes a check behind the screen anyway and grimaces. Well, you see a network of webbing overhead, but for now, there doesn't appear to be any more spiders up there.
Can I pick up Tommen? I'll get him out of the cocoon later.
The DM chuckles, noting Brenna's 16 strength. Yes, you can, quite easily.
All right then, I pick him up. I'm getting out of here as quick as I can.
Very well. You make your way back through the muck and back to the secret door, which has seemingly closed itself.
I search carefully for another push stone.
Great. In the same position as the one on the other side, you do find such a stone.
I push it.
The door slowly opens inwards, revealing the inn cellar once more.
I take Tommen upstairs and see if I can find his father.
You do, and everyone in the tap room is horrified at your arrival. You're covered in the spider's ichor, and the cocoon-trapped Tommel is over your shoulder. Tavern rushes over and relieves you of your burden, laying his boy over the bar and using a dagger of his own to cut his son free. Clearly, Tavern is distraught, But a well-armored warrior steps up, the holy symbol of Odin emblazoned on his tabard. "Oh, please allow me to help," he offers, and then lays his hands on the boy's forehead, radiant energy flowing into him. And in a few minutes, Tamel's eyes blink open, and he looks to Tovin. "Father," he says weakly. Everyone in the tavern cheers loudly, and you are lifted up on their shoulders and hailed a hero, everyone singing your praises.
That's great, but as soon as I can, I'm going to introduce myself to the Cleric of Odin and see if I can get myself some healing.
Very well. After things die down a bit, Tovin pays you your 100 gold pieces, and you learn the cleric's name is Eric Stormblood, and he is indeed one of Odin's faithful. He heals you and congratulates you on the success of your adventure, but adds, "It was a mite foolish of ye to go down into those sores alone, young lady. Nothing wrong or shameful with asking for a little help when you need it."
Your words of wisdom are duly noted, good cleric.
Brenna then asks the DM,
"So what do I find in that pouch?"
The DM smiles. Within the pouch you find what appears to be a ruby of some worth and a small ring made of silver. There are runes all along its circumference. There are also tiny gems within it as well, and they give off an unusual sparkle. The ring might be magical. So this ends the tale of Brenna Thorgood's first adventure in this 4-part series on how to play Dungeons & Dragons. Hopefully you found it exciting, and if you haven't already, you'll seek out a gaming group and play D&D for yourself. I'd also like to thank my daughter Crystal for playing the part of Brenna Thorgood in this video. I invite you to check out my other videos on this channel, as there are quite a few now, as I explore old RPG modules and rulebooks and indulge in exploring retrospective fantasy gaming. Coming up, I've got a review of Castles and Crusades. Though I've reviewed the game previously, this new video will take a look at all the new revised rulebooks, and I'll be focusing on the Castle Keeper's Guide. After that, I'm going to do a full review on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and a classic retro review, G1 to G3, Against the Giants. Hopefully, I'll be able to get all of this out in the month of March. So, my friends, until then, may your D20 roll true, and game on.